it's because he knows he has position and he knows he's going to get you. I mean, he hasn't been caught yet that I remember. I haven't seen any glaring mistakes like you've seen. The older guys have that problem. You Bieksa and Bosch guys trying to run their heyday back, trying to bring their 20s to their late 30s and missing hits. But you don't see that from Manson, which is great.
Yeah, and we'll get back here to kind of reviewing the second period, but a play here for Kessler again. So the puck comes off the boards to Kessler. His shot is stopped. And the rebound comes over to Silfverberg. And this kind of seemed to be something that happened all game where the Ducks were getting a lot of rebounds off quick, but they just weren't over to be able to lift it over him. And this kind of reminds me of something we talked with Paul about when we were talking about John Gibson and stuff came about Jonathan Quick. He just does stuff you don't have names for. I mean, he's just such an unorthodox guy. He seems to be always out of position because he plays so high out of the crease. But he always has the athleticism to just get over and make the save or be able to make it difficult for guys to get the puck over him. It's so weird to watch, but it's also mesmerizing at the same time because of his athleticism.
No, it's true. I was watching the game with my buddy Jay. He's a goalie. He's over on does the other show with me, and he and I were talking about it. And he's like, the thing about Quick is he recovers so fast because of his athleticism. He's able to get close. And on that play by Silfverberg, if you watch that replay, he pushes until he's like so close to the puck that it's really hard to lift it over him. He like you said, he does those things that are so unorthodox and that no one really has names for it, and he's made a living off of them. So, I mean, good on him.
Yeah, and then right after this, I had written in the notes before the goal that Kase has just been everywhere and he's looked very good tonight. And of course, yeah, I know, right? And of course, after this, he has one of his best shifts of his career, sets up Boschman on the point, and it creates a rebound in front for who other than Nick Ritchie, who I would guarantee probably nobody had for the first goal tonight. He swipes it home, tied at 1. Just, after a period where the Ducks didn't look that great, this was a huge goal to tie it at 1.
I feel like Ritchie could really put himself in front of the net in that position more and more and bang home rebounds like that. I don't know how he only has 9 goals on the year.
Yeah,
I don't get it because he's such a big body, and he's able to get position in front of the net, and no one's going to move him.
I think so, and I mean, this is kind of foreshadowing a bit what we're going to talk about after the game, but this can't necessarily be good for Troy Terry and his spot on that line. The fact that, Kase, Henrique, and Ritchie look great tonight, they seem to get back in the mix. Not saying he won't get in the lineup, and when it's not something we're going to discuss right now, but it definitely doesn't look good if he's going to slot back in with the team. Rounding out the second period here, there was a couple more plays, and I had wrote here that Getzlaf has found Perry with about 5 beautiful passes today and no dice. And there was a couple of people in the chat talking about the fact that Perry was missing a lot of opportunities. To be fair, though, not all of them were ones you would say, yeah, that's on him. He's got to score that. A couple of them were behind him. A few of them were bouncing. So I don't want to put all the I don't want to be too harsh on Corey Perry. I feel like he was getting a lot of flack tonight for not burying those, but some of them were hard passes to handle.
I'm sure a little bit got to him, too. You know what I mean? After the first few, especially the backdoor play, that should have been just a slam dunk on the side of Quick, and he healed it, and it went wide. I felt like once you start missing plays like that all night, maybe you're like, this is not going to happen for me, maybe, right? I mean, that's how I would feel. It'd be like, okay, am I really missing every single one of these? But no, you're right. Not everything was picture perfect, crisp passes. He was having to deal with some issues on receiving the pass, and he did he made the best of it. I felt like at least he was noticeable. That line was all over the place. Getzlaf dominated the game, and he carried a lot of the play for Anaheim. He's just a beast. But I mean, Perry was noticeable getting his chances.
Yeah, he was easily the Ducks' best player of the night, Getzlaf was. But that rounded out the second period. Shots were 11-10 Anaheim, and in that period, and then they finished 27-20. And the Ducks actually continued a power play into the third period because Alex Martinez took a delay of game penalty. I believe this was the first penalty of the game. I'd have to, I believe so, and I think it was the first and only penalty of the game. So they weren't calling anything. I mean, they have to call this because he just airmailed it into the seat. So you can't let that one go. So they started the third on the power play, but you're going against the top penalty kill in the National Hockey League. They had nothing going. But then Henrique, Kase, and Ritchie, as we've already mentioned, continuing to make things happen. If Getzlaf and Perry and Raquel weren't the top line tonight, I feel like these guys definitely take some consideration because they got back in the good books tonight.
They needed to. We needed a big game from them. I know that they've been quiet. maybe a goal here and there from those guys, but never anything consistent. They weren't as dominant as we'd seen earlier on. I was really impressed. And the person that I was really impressed with though was Kase. I really felt like he probably, like you said, played maybe his best game or like top 3 games of the season.
Yeah, there's some of these games where he's just on point, and he's one of the best players on the ice. And there's some games where he just kind of disappears, and then that whole line disappears. It's like the energy isn't there. He really is the energy guy for the Ducks, and when he's on his game, he gets everything going for everybody else. But skipping forward here, because really not much happened in this third period. Up until the 5 minutes remaining, the shots were 3-2 LA in this third period. Really nothing going on. The refs weren't calling anything. And the chances didn't really come until about the final couple minutes, where LA had 2 very good chances. Kempe burned Manson, got a half break, which was stopped by Gibson. And then about 30 seconds later, Pearson breaks in, and that's also stopped by Gibson. So Gibson showing why we've considered him for the Vezina, just making 2 huge saves to get the Ducks that extra point.
.966 save percentage for Gibby after tonight. And tonight's game anyway. He's killing it right now. Not much you can say about that third period, though. I mean, both teams locked it down. I mean, I know the Kings outshot them 7-2 that period, but it was really quiet until the end. Like, they really, 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 both teams, like, we need the point. Like, only take a gamble if you know you're going to make it. And that's just kind of where the third period went.
Yeah, and then we go into overtime. Shots for 29-27 Anaheim, so not much going on in the third period. The beginning of overtime kind of mirrored what we had saw in the third period. Both teams kind of feeling each other out, not a lot of chances back and forth, and then all of a sudden it just opened up. I mean, guys must have got tired. There was back and forth plays on either end, and then Getzlaf makes an amazing move, which we didn't catch on a GIF, but we're going to have to get later, but he drags it between his legs, and I think we're all hoping that he'd score on that play, but it's not really something you expect from Getzlaf. You know he has it in his arsenal, but it was just an insane move. I mean, if he had scored on that, that's number one for. I mean, that's got to be goal of the season or close to it.
They needed him to score that, man. I felt like. I mean, I know they ended up not needing it because of Raquel.
Yeah.
But that whole building would have just blown the roof off after that kind of move. What a play by Getzlaf. He just does things at will. It seems like at times on the ice. I mean, really, like that guy could. When he has the puck on a stick, he controls the game. He finds the open man. He'll pull the puck out of the zone and bring it back in when they're in overtime. I don't know, man. I would have flipped out. I thought it went in for a second because I didn't know where the puck went after he took that shot.
Yeah, for the couple seconds, at least on the broadcast, it looked like it had gone in. A lot of people behind the net celebrating because it kind of looked like it went high. And then, of course, he doesn't score. But like you already said, Raquel ends up getting the OT winner. He skates in, makes a little bit of a move inside, and wires it top corner on Jonathan Quick. And what a way to win it. I mean, it really felt like it could have been either team who got a point in this overtime. It was back and forth up until that point. You know, it's unfortunate that LA gets that 1 point, but the Ducks needed 2, and Raquel, of course, is the hero in OT.
No, I mean, you kind of felt like the Ducks early on weren't going to be able to trade chances with the Kings, and when they started trading chances and everything turned out to be okay, and then Raquel gets that chance after Getzlaf, and my God, what a shot. I know that Quick was a little low and out of position a little bit. I mean, he wasn't even close to making that save, but I mean, that was just in the perfect spot between the defender's legs, goes top corner. That's all she wrote, baby. That was just a hell of a game by the Ducks. Got to give him the golf clap. That's, we've already done all the screaming and yelling to end it. I had to quietly clap because people were trying to sleep in my house. But I was like, I try not to scream because I was so pumped for that goal, man. Just a hell of a game by the Ducks to wrap it up 2-1.
Yeah, and Christopher brings up a good point in the chat, too. He said, shout out to the Ducks defensive play as a team tonight. Best gap control I've seen from them in a while. They owned the middle of the ice, and they really did. I mean, you mentioned early on, why couldn't they do that against Vancouver? They saved their best stuff, luckily, against LA, but the defense was on point tonight as well. I mean, the offense took their chances, and they controlled their play at times, but the defense was the real star of this game.
Yeah, and if you want to just talk about the D, you could just talk about the shutdown line of Kessler. They had the best night in as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
They were just monsters defensively. And they created chances offensively, too. I know they didn't score, but they were all over the ice as well. They all had chances. They're mixing it up. I don't know. I feel like every time that Kessler line was on the ice, the Ducks had the puck, and that's what you want. You want them out against the other team's best players, but then you also want to make sure the puck's out of your zone. So, I mean, kudos to them, too. I think they had a hell of a game. And our defense has always been involved, right? I feel like we've been talking about that a lot recently. I mean, Montour had the primary assist on Raquel's goal. Boschman had another assist from his point shot from Ritchie. So, yes, the Ducks' defense putting in offensively as much as they've been doing defensively.
Yeah, and Kessler's line didn't get an easy assignment tonight. They played against Kopitar, Brown, and Pearson. And other than the first goal where Cogliano and Kessler collided, that line didn't get anything going. I didn't see many chances from Kopitar after that play. And that's a testament to how good that shutdown line was. And we really needed them to step up in this game. And it's great that they showed it. Of course, they've been a little bit shaky. They've been kind of showing up in some games and disappearing in others. We say every time they have a good game, hopefully this is it where they start to turn things around. But at least they can get it done in a big game. I think that's important. Obviously, there's another big game coming up against Colorado, who also picked up a win tonight. St. Louis just lost in overtime. So as the night finishes, the Ducks are sitting currently in the first wildcard spot, 1 point behind LA with a game in hand, 1 point above St. Louis with St. Louis having a game in hand, and 1 point above Colorado with the same amount of games played. So they're in a pretty good spot. I mean, it sucks giving up a point to the Kings, but the 2 points in this one was huge because every other team picked up points tonight.
It was a must-win. We've been talking about it, right? It was a must-win, and they really need to win out at home. I just feel like they need to win the next 3 games at home, and then we'll see where we sit before they go to Arizona next Saturday. But just a huge 2 points. There was just no other way to talk about it other than they had to win.
Yeah, and Chase and Chris also bringing up a stat about the shutdown line tonight. Kopitar and Brown had 0 shots in this game. I mean, that's ridiculous. I didn't even know that. I mean, Kopitar was involved in a couple plays. He obviously got the assist on the Doughty goal. But that is some serious work from that line in limiting Kopitar to 0 shots. I mean, this is a guy who's being considered for the Hart this year. He's up to 90 points now, and he had no shots. I mean, that's just some great work to get that done.
So is he okay? Hold on. So, question. I got to talk about Kopi real quick. I know he's having a hell of a bounce back year. He's put up a ton of points, and there's a wide margin in between how many points he has to the next guy on the team. But if they miss the playoffs, do you still consider him for the Hart? I mean, what happens if Taylor Hall?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the same thing with Taylor Hall
and Connor McDavid. I mean, if he misses the playoffs, I think you can't give it to him because then why would you not? Well, you have to give Connor. Really, you have to give it to Connor McDavid then, right? I mean, if you're going to give it to Kopitar and they miss the playoffs, then you might as well give it to Connor McDavid and he has 103 points and he's pacing the NHL by 6 points. I mean, you might as well give it to him then. And the same goes for Nathan McKinnon. Colorado might not make the playoffs. I mean, it's insane. The guys that have led their team, 4 guys who you would say would be in serious consideration for the Hart, aren't going to make the playoffs. And Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Ondrej Kase, and Taylor Hall. I think they all, in my opinion, are front runners over Kucherov, Malkin, and Claude Giroux. But
what?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here because I feel like we're on the verge, but.
Crazy Canadians really think McDavid should be in the Hart conversation?
I do because Edmonton is so bad. I understand. I don't think he's a favorite in my opinion, but I think he's in the discussion. I mean, he's just that good of a player.
Well, of course he is because there's nothing good to talk about in Canada right now. I mean, just the teams. There's no team up there that's frightening other than Winnipeg.
Well, the Leafs are okay.
Yeah, they're all right. That's true. But, I mean, Winnipeg's dangerous. I feel like the Leafs probably get bounced in the first round.
Who's your favorite, then? Who's your favorite, then? If you're not going to consider... No, for the Hart, if you're not considering McDavid in the discussion, or if you're going to take out guys who don't make the playoffs. So if you take out Kopitar, McKinnon, Taylor Hall, and Connor McDavid, if all of them didn't make the playoffs.
Well, now you got to put me on the spot like that.
Well, you got Kucherov has got 97.
No, I honestly, I would probably pick. I'd either go with Kucherov or Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't give it to McDavid. He was out there for 3 straight goals against Columbus.
Yeah.
After he put up 2.
I got to give some love to Claude Giroux because I feel like he's getting a little bit of the shaft in that discussion where he's got 93 points in 78 games.